Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Kerrville Weekly News Roundup, hosted by the Texas Hill Country Podcast Network. We are the founders of the network and your hosts for today's show. We're going to run over our top news picks for the week. I got Tom Fox, Andrew Gay, and Gilbert Paiz here in the studio, and let's get after it. All right, Tom, why don't you do the honors, as always, and kick us off, sir?
Sure. I want to start out with, as you guys know, my parents were teachers, so I always pay attention to K through 12 education. And Brent Ringo, Dr. Brent Ringo, I should say, the superintendent of the Kerrville Independent School District, was able to announce a fabulous donation to the KISD of, I believe, 1.5 million dedicated to 3 STEM teachers for 2 years for the Kerrville Independent School District. He, of course, knows who the donor is, but they've chosen at this point to remain anonymous. In an article reported by the Kerrville Daily Times, Dr. Ringo went to lunch with the donor, and it was pretty clear whatever Dr. Ringo thought the lunch was about, it was not what he thought it was about, a fabulous donation. And I cannot say enough about whoever this donor may be. With all the claptrap going on with the governor about taking money from public schools and giving it to private schools, doesn't matter. We have people who see the importance of public education in the state of Texas and are willing to put their money where their mouth is. And whoever this donor is, I want to give him a big shout out. Obviously, Dr. Ringo was a part of this. The money will be administered by the Kerrville Independent School District Board. So we'll have a board oversight for the monies, and it will go towards the salary of teachers. And I really can't think of a better way to spend money than to give teachers salaries, particularly for the STEM programs, and really help elevate KISD to the next level.
Well said, Tom.
Julie Johnson was appointed Director of Elementary Education. Can't wait to see what Julie can come up with. Obviously, your kids, I think, are moving towards high school, and many of us think about our days in high school, but K through 6 is still incredibly important. And anything we can put into that elementary school education to help prepare people for the higher level subjects they get in a high school, I think are great. Once again, my mom taught in the first grade, so I understand the importance of setting that foundation, getting kids the ability to read, and really preparing them to take those next steps forward. So I applaud Julie Johnson being appointed to that. On the one downside for the KISD, the Tybee High School baseball team lost out in the regional playoffs. So they're out, and that's the last, I believe, Tybee sports team that was still in the playoffs for school year 23-24. On one downside, I would note we've had our 13th rabies case in Kerr County. So I can't emphasize enough, if you've got a pet, just watch them. Any animal that can pass rabies along. This last rabies case was inside the city of Kerrville. Be careful out there.
Yeah, that's not the kind of animal you want to get bit by.
No.
And I've walked outside before, and there's been a possum up underneath our garden hose, like literally less than 2 feet from my back door. So you just got to be careful.
You probably still have more to worry about from human bites than animal bites. At least you won't get rabies from a human, probably.
Yeah, as long as they're not no zombies. Okay, what do you got for us today, Gilbert?
I've got 2 stories today, Andrew, and the first story I'd like to lead with, ironically enough, maybe, is the city of Kerrville has moved to stage 3 water restrictions, and that's kind of ironic because we've had a good week of rain, but still the safe operating capacity for the city of Kerrville has been dropping off a little bit, and they feel like it's a good time to go ahead to stage 3 water restrictions, which means that they've removed some of the citizens' abilities to water with a handheld hose at any time. So you can still do it, but you can only do it between 6 and 9 a.m. and 7 and 11 p.m. any day of the week. And then if you have sprinkler systems, you can only use those during certain times and depending on your address. And don't be surprised if we end up going to stage 4, because if you recall last year, because of the drought, the city and the Headwaters Groundwater Conservation District had a bit of a controversy about whether or not the city should have been in stage 3 water restrictions and followed maybe their lead on water restrictions. But hopefully this year, with the rain we've had, even though we've had some crazy heat, maybe we'll get a little bit of a reprieve. But for now, stage 3 water restrictions. And of course, in this part of the world, you should be conserving water all the time, whether we're in drought restrictions or not. because you never know when that spigot's going to turn off. So stage 3 water restrictions, be mindful of it, save water, do your best to conserve, and let's hope for some continued rain. The next story I have for us is the city of Kerrville has an economic improvement corporation. Many people don't realize that EIC board is the one that directs a lot of spending for quality of life projects in the city of Kerrville, and they usually get their funding from sales tax revenues that come
Yeah.
in from the city.
Half a cent. or
That's
something.
right. That's right. But here recently, their last board meeting, they were able to fund some interesting projects, and hopefully the citizens of Kerrville agree with them. Number one is some workforce housing development money is going to go to the Habitat for Humanity for their Project Mariposa. For those of you that don't know in Spanish, mariposa
Butterfly.
means butterfly. That's right. Project Butterfly. This is a workforce development housing that Habitat is working on. They're going to hopefully be able to build market rate houses that people can afford working. People can afford, because as we all know, housing prices in the Texas Hill Country in general were pretty high, and in Kerrville in particular. The Economic Improvement Corporation is not giving them money just because or letting them use it for whatever. The money specifically geared towards infrastructure expense, providing utilities to those properties once they're developed. And that's a really interesting project because of all the things that Kerrville needs. Workforce housing is probably one of the top ones. So that's one thing they're funding. Another thing that they came up with was funding some money to Shriner University to help them expand their athletic programs. You haven't heard? Shriner's really thinking and trying very hard to raise money to facilitate a football program, and they needed some help upgrading some of their facilities, and the EIC is helping to fund some of that. One of the other things they did was they're also working in conjunction with Shriner to help develop a workforce training program. It's the Shriner University Center for Talent and Workforce Development. And so this program, I think, in conjunction with Shriner, is going to help develop not only workforce development, but also probably work on developing future leaders for the community, which is good. And then they also did they're also helping out our friends at James Avery, one of the city's and the community's largest employers, and helping them out with a stoplight at their new plant over by the airport.
We all know where that's at
Yeah.
because apparently cops have had to stop traffic to let people leave off their shift. When their
Yeah,
shift is from there.
that facility out there on Highway 27 near the airport gets very congested right around 4 o'clock, and there's a lot of traffic on 27. And this stoplight, I think, will just facilitate ease of entry and exit on that property for their
You know,
employees.
there's just too many people.
Yes.
Kerrville. I can't believe the traffic.
Yeah,
They just need to
get rid of them.
no new housing, no new anything.
No, you forgot to shut the gate behind you. So you got it.
And then the last thing that they did was they are also, I guess you could say, they're helping to not only fund those projects, but they're also funded other projects in the recent past, namely downtown area, streetscape, river trail extension,
The HEB tennis complex.
the HEB tennis
They
complex,
redid that.
Scott
a few
Shriner
years
golf
ago.
course improvements, the Olympic pool. There's a lot of things that the EIC does that I think impact the city of Kerrville and the residents of Kerrville. And most people don't even know that's what they do. And yours truly here has just been appointed to a 2-year term on the EIC, and I look forward to helping out. I hope I'm not a huge disappointment to myself and everybody else on that board, but I look forward to helping out and improving the quality of life for people here in Kerrville.
That's great. We're excited for you. Congratulations,
Thank you.
formally.
Thank you.
Get rid of the traffic.
Wait until they find out at my 6-year prison stint. They may not be so happy anymore.
Just
You
don't lie on the
You
application.
and Harvey, you and Harvey can get together. Have your own podcast.
Oh man. Okay, so for
Kidding about the prison incident, by the way.
yes,
In my life.
yeah.
The
Thank you for
conviction-
clarifying.
Yeah, the conviction was removed.
That's
It
right.
was-
It was expunged.
So you thought.
I was only 12. I didn't know. I didn't know armed robbery was a crime.
Okay, so for my stories, I got just a few mentions. Let's start with Arcadia Live, who is the organization that is responsible for putting on Kerrville's Fourth on the River, who historically was hosted by, or the main performer headliner was Robert Earl Keen. In the last couple of years, that since he has officially retired, those that has turned over now. And we've seen some different headliners, including Randy Rogers last year. For 2024's Kerrville's Fourth on the River, the main headliner is American Aquarium. And then they got some other bands too that I'm really excited for. Mainly the Wilder Blue will be playing along with Bree Bagwell and the ADH Project. I'm familiar with the Wilder Blue. That is probably one of my favorite bands that I've seen 6, 7 times live here in the Hill Country area. Their original name before they were the Wilder Blue with some of the original members was Hill Country. That was like their little band name. They have Hill Country roots tied back to kind of this area. And they are just a phenomenal band. I can't say enough about them. Their harmonies are on point. They play a ton of different instruments. They all kind of had their individual music careers going and then have kind of formed this band. And it just so turns out that Bree Bagwell, who is also, she was named female country vocalist of the decade, I think, or something. She's gotten a lot of attention, won some awards. She happens to be dating one of the guys in the Wilder Blues, and she's a phenomenal artist too. So we're super excited about that. So they just made that announcement this past week, I believe. Peterson Health, they talking about awards and accolades. I swear, I think every single week I see them in the paper or in the media print for winning some other kind of award. But this past week, they got named one of the best places to work by Modern Healthcare for the 4th consecutive year in a row. And then I also wanted to mention the Memorial Day event we all had Monday off for good reason. I think a lot of us participated in different Memorial Day events, but we being Kerrville, had a Memorial Day ceremony on the courthouse lawn here in town that was well attended. And from what I heard and saw, it went off without a hitch and was a great remembrance of why we have Memorial Day or celebrate Memorial Day. And then finally, K-Pub doling out $16,000 to 3 Tybee High School grads. I just wanted to mention that real quick because that's amazing. We were just talking about some of the local investment in our community and importance of public education. And I think it's awesome when we see these local businesses giving back in the form of doing some kind of scholarship to younger people related to education in our area. So that's it for me. What about the weekend? Are we just doing rain dances, continuing that or hoping that continues or what?
We are hopefully going to go to see the Folk Festival Saturday night, Kerrville Folk Festival. Number 2 is the last swap meet until September. Go out to the youth center for the swap meet. Always great stuff out there. And my wife and I'll be checking that out on Saturday morning and afternoon.
Awesome.
You and I and our wonderful wives are going to go celebrate our 4-year anniversary as a standalone business.
That's right.
You and me have been in business for 4 years and
For our day jobs, yes.
yes,
Unrelated
to this, but we're going to hang out and celebrate that. And then I hope to spend some time with my family that didn't get to catch up with during Mother's Day. So we've already made some arrangements. We're going to go have some dinner in San Antonio and enjoy the family time.
That's it.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I don't have much else planned other than that. And then I got a leadership thing with some people who get together. And hopefully that one's going to be, hopefully the rain can hold off if we're supposed to see any more this weekend. Because I think we still want to spend some time outside. And I think we're supposed to get in the pool. So we'll see.
Excellent.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget, interact with us, share our content, helps other people find our channel, our show, and what we're doing here in the Texas Hill Country. And have a great weekend. We will catch you back here next time.